Hi, I'm Donald McIntyre, Senior Editor of the ETC Cooperative. This is the ETC Proof of Work course, Class 24. Proof of Work is not voting. In the previous Class 23, we explained why decentralization is enabled by the security model of Proof of Work POW consensus, how the social layer is not a risk, why Proof of Work and governance is the natural way of managing the system, and that it actually works better without governance. Speaking of ungovernance and governance, in this Class 24 we will explain that there is a misconception in proof of work ecosystems that says that the proof of work process, or better named Nakamoto Consensus, is a voting mechanism. This can't be further from the truth. Proof of work is really competition. It's really a competition, but not a voting mechanism. In this class we will analyze and explain these differences. Romantic democracy language in the Bitcoin white paper. Unfortunately, Satoshi Nakamoto introduced romantic democracy-like language in the Bitcoin white paper, and that has confused many idealists in the blockchain industry who think that blockchains are ethical communities, and that these communities should make decisions about the protocol based on democratic methods. It was clearly a mistake by Mr. Nakamoto to introduce such language. He was really trying to explain why proof of work avoided the problem of sock puppet nodes taking over the network when voting was necessary in those kinds of systems. Proof of work actually does not solve the sock puppet problem either. In proof of work, it is just mere hash power that determines which is the next block, but it is not known who owns that hash power. In other words, that hash power could be controlled by a single attacker. And it is even not known today how many individual miners are behind the mining pools. So, even through proof of work, it couldn't be determined who are the majority and what is their true vote. Proof of work is savage competition. What we explained in the previous section means that proof of work is not voting nor a democracy. Proof of work is truly savage competition and survival of the fittest within a very civilized and strict method imposed by cryptography. Miners around the world just plug as many machines as they can to as cheap as possible energy sources so they can achieve the highest efficiency possible to try to outrun and out-earn the other miners in the world. Then, through the proof of work protocol, they produce as many hashes as possible, and when one of them hits the target difficulty, they immediately send the block to the rest of the network for verification and to receive the block reward. Note that the above means that the rest of the network is not even involved in the supposed voting process. Therefore, if it were such a mechanism, then all these nodes would actually be left out of the supposed political system. Proof of work hence is like a 100-meter sprint. When all the men in the race sprint to the finish line, whoever got there first won and will get the prize. The runners did not actually vote who would win, and the result was determined by the extreme minority of one single winner. Voting is a conflict resolution device. In truth, voting is a social conflict resolution device, not even a good decision-making system. In nature, animals resolve conflict to prevent constant fighting between themselves by various methods. These may range from comparing body size to howling contests, who got to a mating partner first, or marking territory with urine. All these methods avoid the excess costs of violence, but none of them are voting. Similarly, to avoid constant violence between the parties, voting in human societies is a method to force the parties to accept results even if they don't like them, and even if the result is a grossly bad decision. As an example, imagine voting who will fly the plane in your next flight. Proof of work is pure merit and free adoption, thus purely voluntary. In proof of work, nobody is forced to anything just because some majority decided it. Indeed, nodes can even split from the network at will, as we explained in class 17 of this course. Voting submits the minority. Simplistic voting mechanisms that, for example, resolve issues by simple majority are actually submission methods. The minorities must submit to what the majorities decide, no matter what are the consequences. This is why the republic was invented, to avoid the tyranny of the majorities. This was even discovered in antiquity by the Greeks 2,400 years ago. Proof of work achieves voluntary consensus. But proof of work is even better than the republic model because it is by mere merit and physical prowess, both absolute moral values, that the participants achieve voluntary consensus in the system. Proof of work is so decentralized that strangers around the world, who may even be totally antagonistic in geopolitics, are collaborating as we speak in building and verifying Bitcoin and ETC blocks and processing transactions peacefully. Examples of this are Ukrainian and Russian nodes and miners, and Iranian and Israeli nodes and miners. Therefore, proof of work is not voting. All of the above are powerful illustrations of why the proof of work based Nakamoto Consensus mechanism is not a voting mechanism. It is what its name says, a violence-free consensus mechanism. It is objectively powered by physics and the natural drive of man to compete and earn rewards for winning. Nobody is submitted and no minority has to accept any results. Indeed, the minority is king in proof of work, as only one miner may decide which is the next block, and the great majority happily accepts such results because we were designed to do so. Pure voting is a limited scope, subjective method of channeling tyranny through manipulation and coercion. This is exactly the opposite of what blockchains are designed to do. Thank you for watching this video, ETC Proof of Work course, Class 24, Proof of Work is not voting. And to learn more about Ethereum Classic, please go to ethereumclassic.org. Thank you very much.